momenti più felici, ad inseguire un sogno, il mio sogno. Quante volte mi hai deluso, non importa, io ci credo e vivo il mio sogno. Pari grande amore.
Welcome everyone to a brand new edition of the Staten Island Soccer Report. We're coming to you from the studios of CTV tonight. Alongside me, as always, Brian Daw.
Hey, John, how are you?
What's going on? We'll say hello to our Facebook fans and also our television land. Actually, this show is not going to be on probably not until maybe midweek on television, but it's live on Facebook tonight, Brian. 3 weeks in a row. Now, this is the third Monday in a row that we've done a show. First time ever since the show's been on the air. So
that's amazing to think that's the first time you've done 3 shows in a row.
3 weeks,
three consecutive weeks, and it's great. I mean, the ability to get in here and do it live on Facebook and also tape it so that they're filling up their TV listing and their TV time and get us on there is great. You know, it's nice coming into the studio and doing this, and it might, if it keeps going, it gives us a chance to talk a little bit more soccer on a weekly basis.
Right.
You know, touch base on that, our recreational and our soccer on Staten Island.
And that's the most important.
And that's what we want to do, a Staten Island Soccer Report.
Right.
And get to touch on that, and I think that's great.
So, again, just putting it out there, we're on Facebook Live, we're going to be on television, and it's going to go on YouTube also. So,
right, it's all over. We got 3 different ways you can grab us. Live on Facebook, you know, and then YouTube, which is always there.
Right. The show will be posted on YouTube tomorrow. All right, Brian, let's get right to it. We got a lot of youth soccer to cover.
Yeah, I actually took some time, and I like I said the last time, I go into the Staten Island Advance, try to see whatever's in there to gather whatever I can, you know. And a lot what we get in there is the rec stuff. When the and it's amazing. There's not you see the 1 or 2 clubs, 2 teams, whether it's the coaches or whoever it is. They're the same all the time. There's not you don't get there's no consistency to the reporting of
scores.
Of the scores, whether it comes from the club, whether it comes from the team. So you get some in there, you know, I can call out, you know, I know that, and I know this because I know the kids that play on it, you know, the St. Charles Jaguars, they're a, you know, rec team. The U10, they got you know, there's players on there from the SLSA Phoenix and the SLSA Freedom. I know they had a good game. They won their match, and also Our Lady Queen of Peace, the Blue Angels. Again, majority of those players are from my team. There is a player on there from the Phoenix, and I know that they had a big game too, and they won. So it's you know, they compete against each other, and I can only report what I know.
Right, exactly.
You know, I can make it easy and go to Staten Island Youth Soccer League's website, but what fun is that? We want them to interact with us.
Exactly.
You know, we want them to catch on to our show, and whether it's, you know, it's a weekly thing, we post the scores, we'll do whatever it is. But you got to reach out to us.
Right.
We're not going to make life easy for you.
We'll post it. We'll mention it on the show.
You know, we'll promote your club. We'll promote anything you have going on, whether it's a clinic you have going on. Let us know. We'll promote it. People are starting to follow us on Facebook. You know, I noticed somebody from Silver Lake, a coach, you know, shared to our page the tryouts. You know, and message him. You know. It's there. People are starting to do it. So it's starting to catch on. So being part of Silver Lake, I kind of know the teams and I know the leagues they play in. So I was able to go and I was able to find this past weekend's results. You know, so that's what I pulled off. And again, see the stars. Soccer Best for You, our buddy Ernest. You know, report it to us. Shoot us an email. Shoot us a message on Facebook. We'll report how your team did. So, you know, I just went through and we'll look at I grabbed some, CJSL, which is the Cosmopolitan Junior Soccer League, which is primarily boys.
Okay.
So just pulling from there, we had a bunch of teams playing in there, and in no particular order. I tried to keep it that way, but I'll start you. I'm not going to get into A or B or whatever. It's just
Right.
U9. The Silver Lake SLSA Titans had a 2-1 win over the Chernomorets of Brooklyn. The SLSA Lions, unfortunately, fell 3-1 to DTS Cosmos.
Right.
This is all Brooklyn, Queens.
Right, the boroughs.
The SLSA Strikers had 2 this weekend. 2-0 win against EFG, and an unlucky 3-1 loss to the Future Stars Football Club. Again, U9 SLSA Falcons, 0-0 draw to New York Stars. And we jumped ahead. This is all still in CJSL. U10, the SLSA Juventus, 3-1 loss to Soccer Fun for Kids. And again, U10, the SLSA Knights, a 3-1 loss to Downtown United.
I kind of like that name, Soccer Fun for Kids.
Yeah,
that's
Soccer
the name
Fun
of a
for
team.
Kids.
That's
Dusk is
Wow.
Downtown United. And then we staying within the CJSL U11. We had the Sharks, a 6-2 win over
nice.
AC Brooklyn, but it's spelled differently. But that's what I think it's how
The
it's
Sharks
pronounced.
is coached by.
I believe the Sharks are coached by
Sean.
I think that's Sean's team.
Yes, it is. Okay.
And then this is a fairly new team to Silver Lake. It's a U15 boys, the young stars, the high school kids.
Okay.
They actually played the game. They were the game before the Fire on Saturday, so I got to watch a little bit of that.
Right.
Good team. They won 5-1 over Buena Vista FC.
Okay.
And then we jumped right to the Northern County Soccer Association. That's in Jersey. We have We have 2 boys teams that play there. The U12, the Warriors, which I believe is a newer team.
Right.
7-0 win over Verona. And the U14 Eagles dropped a tough one, 2-1 to Emerson. And I'm going to stick with the boys while we're there.
Yeah.
And now we're going to jump to New York Club Soccer, which is what we play in.
Okay.
And U10 boys, Division 1, our buddies, the Silver Lake Tigers,
Right.
were on the show with us. And while we're on the Tigers, I just want to... I don't know if he has it on or not, but I know he's recuperating at home.
Right.
Coach Selman, friend of the show, friend to everybody on Staten Island. So, Selman, we're all thinking about you in the soccer community. We hope you get well and get you on the show as soon as you're ready.
Yep. Definitely get back out there.
His Tigers played 2 this week, and I believe they're being coached by Frank Canizzaro, the president. So he's filling in Coach Selman's absence in the 5-0 win over Port Washington and a 1-0 win over East Meadow. So they pulled out a tough one after a runaway.
Okay.
So that's good to see. And then we jump into the Premier League for boys, U11, Division I Premier League, Silver Lake Soccer Academy, the Cobras. Another 2 games this weekend, a 5-1 win over Everton FCW and a 5-2 win over Elmont Jigs. U12 boys, Division III New York Premier League, the Hawks, a 0-0 draw against GCP.
Right.
And let's see, I'm going to jump to the girls now. We'll jump back to the girls, to New York Club Soccer. Not New York Club, Northern Counties, the girls' side. And hopefully he calls in. I know he's been trying to get in here.
Right,
He's
right.
ready, chomping at the bit. But our buddy from the show, George, who follows us on Facebook and watches when he can, his team, the Dolphins.
The Dolphins, right.
Their inaugural season under SLSA Spring.
Right.
They've been training. They had their first game. 5-0 win against the Torpedoes. So I can't wait to get George on.
Yeah, let him explain.
And let him talk about how that went. And they're U9. U10, the Freedom, we had an unlucky loss, 5-1 against our rivals, one of our rivals, the Warriors. It was a tough one. U10 B Division, because we play in different, same league but different levels. The Phoenix, a tough win, but I was able to watch that game. They played before the Freedom, and they did a great job. Congratulations to Coach D and the girls. A 2-1 against Arsenal. Our U12 Sirens, still another new team. They had a 1-1 draw with SC Vistula. Our U12, another U12 team, the Fusion, 5-0 win over Northern Valley.
Okay.
And we, believe it or not many people know it. They have a U19 team at SLSA, and that's the Ravens, and they dropped their match 5-4 to Hoboken.
Okay.
And just last two matches that I know of, SLSA Fire,
Right.
which we know our girls play
Right.
on. After coming back from a loss, 2 weeks off,
That's 3 weeks.
almost
right.
3 weeks
Yeah,
of
yeah.
2-0 win over Old Greenwich, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we lost to the last time we played them a year ago, maybe.
Okay.
Girls did look good, surprisingly well after a 2 week. You would think.
Well, let's dissect the game a little bit.
We can play a little bit.
Since we got some time,
We got some time. We got some time.
In my opinion, again, right, and it's only the first half. I mean, if you're possessing the ball and you're not doing anything with it as far as putting it behind in the net,
Right.
to me, it's kind of like you're shaking your head, because and we spoke about that the day of the game. They're one shot away from taking a lead on you. One
Right.
break, one quick break,
Right.
one mistake, one breakdown, and that's what it was at halftime. It was 0-0. The Fire
Right.
game. It was
Right.
a
It wasn't until the
scoreless.
second half.
Right. In the second half, they finally took advantage of their great play
Right.
because they did play well. They just didn't score.
It was by no means that lack of they were playing poorly.
Right.
They were in there.
They were in there.
They
They possessed the ball. They had the ball. They
yeah,
had possession the whole
I'd
first half.
say 90% of the
Right.
first half, they had
Right.
possession.
And when you don't do anything with that,
Right, we
most
had
times.
missed opportunities.
Right,
It
right.
was unlucky, missed opportunities. One ball,
Right.
one ball was rocketed right off the crossbar,
Yeah.
which stemmed a conversation
Yeah.
on the sidelines
Right,
about
right.
the
The goal line can.
not the goal line can, but the construction of the goals.
Right.
Where now all of a sudden everybody, you start realizing the goal post, the side post, and the crossbar are supposed to be rounded.
Supposed to be round, right?
Not square. And on field one,
Right.
one side of the field you got a rounded
And one is-
goal,
yeah.
and the other side you got full square. So
It's
right
terrible.
there.
Right, it's terrible.
I mean,
yeah.
you play with the hand you dealt.
It's bad enough the fields are terrible. Now,
The field. We were talking about that too, and not to jump off. We could jump back into that, but the last game, U15, New York Premier League Division III, Silver Lake Soccer Academy Storm, 1-1 draw against BW Gotchi out of Brooklyn. So it seems a successful weekend for Silver Lake, and again, I know where these are. I'll go find them. It's my, that's easy for me.
Yep.
I also can look at Silver Lake's Facebook page and give us information, and we'll gladly promote your club and your scores and your team. So that was travel, but getting back.
Let's
get
go back to
that field.
Yeah, let's go back to the Fire game a little bit.
You can go
Let's,
to the-
because we spoke about the first half. Now the second half, I mean, they came out and did pretty much the same thing, right? But they actually capitalized, and they scored a couple of
Right.
goals,
Yes.
right? So a win is a win, right? You take it. They did play well, and they're expected, according to the standings, in my mind, expected to win again this weekend because, again, when you're playing, and this is how I would coach it. If I'm looking at the standings, you're expected to win that game because the team is below you, and that's where you want to keep them.
Right.
All right.
Right.
That's
Those
why.
are the games
That's
you're
why
supposed to win, and you have to win.
And this is why I say you're expected to win. If I'm coaching again, we want to keep them below us, so we got to win that game.
Of course.
And that's how.
Of course.
That's how you're supposed.
No, but
your
that's in any
mindset.
sport. You always, how they talk about you got to win the games you're supposed to win. Well, that's it. This is a game.
And I know it's early. It's 2 or 3 games into a season.
But they're only playing 8.
Right. So you're almost halfway through.
Right. You can't. You
can't take off any. Right.
You can't take off. You got to come out, and they did. They played well.
Yep.
The Coach Patricia, actually put in place, took the time in the 2 weeks. She put in place a new formation, which you know, it worked out well. It really did. The girls looked to understand it better, and they played well with it. I liked it.
And I'll say this, but I never really give Gabriella any kind of props. She did play aggressive.
She did.
She showed some signs, and she even reached out for a header.
She did. I was
Missed it,
joking with her before the show, and I said, we got to get your legs stronger to jump, because she it was like she stood up on her tippy toes, but she stood up on her tippy toes and moved ahead as the ball was coming in her direction. So I give her the effort for it.
Still want to see more out of her, but you know, I think the team.
It's coming.
You know, she's a goal scorer. That's the thing, and she's not scoring now. And if she did, the team would be better off.
Well,
a lot better off.
The more people you get scoring, the more opportunities you have, the better off you are.
They have the few girls that score. We're not going to name names, but they
have their girls.
The team,
who score.
right? The team and if those girls aren't scoring, they're looking for someone.
You need somebody else.
Someone's got to step up.
Somebody's got to do it. You can't count on the same people all the time.
Not every
count
time.
On them. Listen, everybody's entitled to have a bad game.
Yep.
If you have a bad game, you gotta have somebody's got to be there to pick them up.
So this is why I'm always on her about, you know, you got to try, just get dirty, you know, do something.
And it's not hard to get dirty.
No, and I'm like, listen, I want to wash your uniform, you know. It's like, all right, so.
But yeah, I mean, we talked about the fields.
Yeah,
you know, you've been around, you've played
terrible.
a game.
Yeah,
you know, because Ariana had her first game that she's played in a while, and they played, and you would think that you had all this prep time leading up the government to get these fields open pretty much at the end of April. You know, just open this weekend. You would do something other than planting lines. I mean, the field next to them that the kids were warming up on, field 4. I walked in the goal box because I was playing around with one of the kids. We were playing. There was a bottom of a broken beer bottle in the goal box. I mean,
what could you say? I mean,
it's
they don't care about the field. They really
care.
don't. They really don't.
You pay for us to you pay us to use the field. We'll put lines on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know, what else to do. I mean, I sent the letter once to, you know, then our state senator. I believe it was at the time was Grimm.
Yep.
And about the disgusting, you know, nature of the porta potties that they offer.
Yep.
There's no other outside of one bathhouse, because the one
and that was closed.
The one that's always in that little field house is locked all the time.
That's
it's
always
White
locked.
House you have to go to.
Right.
But everything else is pretty much an outhouse or a porta potty, and it's disgusting. And basically, the people their response was, "We clean them but you're not there. You clean them weekly.
It's not good enough.
But what goes on a weekend?
Yep.
You
well,
know,
there's games all week during the week too.
There's games all week, and then on the weekends,
rec games, right?
There's people having picnics.
Yeah.
There's people having, you know, it just becomes it's embarrassing. Yeah. And you've traveled same places I've traveled, and when you go to these places outside of the city limits,
it's unbelievable.
Granted, they pay more taxes. But this is government. This is the government, and this is what we have to use, and we have no way of doing it on our own.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to take a rake to the field. We're not allowed to do anything.
Can't touch it.
They're responsible for the maintenance of everything. But meanwhile, what kind of responsibility are you showing when you're finding glass? The bathroom situation is disgusting. It's unsanitary.
That glass may come in the same time the dirt's coming in.
You never know.
It may.
But they don't bring any dirt in.
Oh. Whatever dirt they do bring in, the glass might be in there.
And then on top of that, I know that I'm sure there's ways to get, but the geese, the geese droppings all over the place. That's just toxic.
Yeah.
Kids come home, you know, they slide in it.
It's on the
I know
shoes.
they can't do anything, but I don't know if it's that we just don't put enough pressure on them.
Put a few dogs on that field. Get rid of the geese.
Let them run a little bit. They'll go. I know.
Get rid of the geese.
But it's, you know, it's.
All right, let's get back to the game.
Well,
I mean, there's nothing we could do about Millerfield, obviously.
Just my little.
I know. It's a little frustrating. It is frustrating, but
especially when your kid's a goalkeeper and you got to make sure that goal box is cleaned out, because they're not going to do it.
There's only one other option.
Got to find a different field.
Have the team schedule 8 road games,
Right.
and then
Well,
you're playing on perfect
Listen,
turf.
I talk to some people do.
You
I
know?
know somebody. I know.
Is there really an advantage?
I talked to a coach that plays all his games in Jersey.
Yeah. Is there really a home field advantage? No, there isn't.
Outside of for us.
Yeah.
Travel. But
So
that's fine.
Right. It's not like we got a crowd, like a 20,000 seat arena or anything like that.
Right.
But, all right. So on the youth side,
There's not much else. Again,
one rec score that we can mention: Richmond Town Fury lost 6-0 to Good Counsel. That's about it.
I'm not even.
U12.
I meant to ask you what happened on that day before the show, because I don't want to bring it up because I don't know if anything was found.
Oh no, there was nothing found on that. There was suspicion of an illegal play, but again, I don't know. Like I said, it doesn't even matter.
It does at that point.
Really
that's
doesn't.
not why you lost the game.
No.
But to think that you'd have to even do that.
Well,
to get into
the reason why we lost the game is I'll get into that. I'll get into that a little bit, because here you got one team that's got basically recreational players, right?
Okay.
Basically, maybe 1 or 2 travel, but not even anything high level. Okay?
Right.
So, and then you got another team that's got about 5 or 6 high level travel players.
Okay.
Okay. Then you play against each other. What do you think the outcome's going to be?
Right.
You already know. You don't even have to play the game.
Right.
You don't even have to play. If I wouldn't known that, what's the point of even playing?
That's the issue
It's a big problem.
with rec soccer.
Tremendous.
Because at certain levels, again, who am I as a coach? I can honestly say to tell you can't play rec soccer.
Right.
You can do whatever you want, and that's your choice. So, but where that falls on is the league.
Right. Yeah, the league's got
and the club. But ultimately the league, because the league needs to make sure that is managed.
Right.
Now, I heard that, not now, but starting in the fall, they are going to go back. I know there used to be a cap on
2 players.
a cap. There used to be a cap on travel soccer players on your roster.
Right.
I heard that they're going back to that. I don't know what number they're putting that out.
Okay.
I don't know if it's 4 or 5, whatever.
Right.
But I know a lot of clubs struggle too, because some clubs struggle because they don't have enough kids playing in their club.
Right.
So by
What do you get at it? Let's go right to this, and then we're going to cut it, because I really don't want to put too much time into this. What are you getting?
It's a good topic.
It's a good little topic, but what do you get out of loading a rec team with travel players? All right, and then you're playing, like I mentioned, a regular rec team with no travel players. What is the point of that? And then you got the 6-goal limit.
Right.
All right, so this team loaded with players, travel players, scores 6 goals in 15 minutes.
And then they're done.
Right.
They can't score now.
Then what are you doing the rest of the game? You're playing pass around. They're keeping the ball away from the other team. The travel players are just circling around.
Right. No, listen.
That's not soccer to me.
It's not soccer.
All right. It's not how you play the game.
That's why there's a distinction between recreational and travel.
Yep.
The people playing recreational and don't get me wrong, there could be good players that just don't want to play travel, and their parent, they don't want the commitment, they don't want.
What about this? How about we do this then? Here's an option maybe. Get rid of all the travel players. Take them out of the rec leagues. Take them out. You don't belong here. If you're on a travel team, you cannot play rec, and let the rec players play. You'll have competitive games.
You got no complaints about from that. You won't get any complaints from me
that's
about
what
that.
That's what should be done. Take them out. Take them out. You cannot play rec if you're on a travel team. End of story.
That's great, but now playing the devil's advocate side of
Go ahead.
it, you're going to have. I mean, your team. Here's a perfect example. Your team. Yeah. Your club does not have a U10 or a U11 team.
Right.
So you got U10 girls, U11 girls, and U12 girls playing on U12.
Right, all playing.
So you got girls. Ariana's a perfect example. She's a 4th grader.
Yep.
She's a true U10.
Right.
She's playing 2 ages up. So you want to get into taking the travel plays out to making it competitive? Well, that's a problem too.
Yeah,
And there's another problem too. We talked about this. U10 players. Why are they playing 11v11?
That's been going on.
U10
Right.
team.
Yep. That's
Since the fall, it's been going on.
right. Yep.
And U.S. guidelines, U.S. soccer guidelines,
Right.
they have not changed it to go full on. It's 7v7.
It's 7.
That
right.
starts in the fall.
Okay.
Right now, the guideline for U10
This is
across
9.
the board is 8v8.
8v8. 8 total.
8v8.
8v8. Okay.
7 plus a goalie.
Okay. Yep.
So explain to me how it is right to have U10 kids playing 11v11
Yeah. It's not. So,
when the guideline is 8v8.
right.
So
right.
that's not fair either.
Well, we need someone from the league to explain that
Well,
a little
that's
bit
it.
better.
And they're not
That's
gonna
the-
come
right.
on.
Well,
They're not
we
gonna
say it
come
every
on.
week, and but again, I think maybe to eliminate the 6-0 in 10 minutes.
Well, you got
You gotta
people.
why would if a parent, maybe someone speaks to their child, why would you want to play on a rec team if you're at the travel level, right, and you're on the travel? Why go back? Why go back to that rec team? Right?
Listen, it's so here. So now you'll have you're playing that side of.
Right. All right. We may have a call. You're on the Staten Island Soccer Report.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, George.
What's going on, Brian? How's everything?
All right, congratulations, George.
Yeah, we finally got to play a game and had a good showing.
All right, we got George on. George, introduce yourself. What's the name of your team, age group? Give us the whole scoop.
Okay, so this is George, I'm the coach of the Staten Island Staten Island Silver Lake Soccer
Okay.
Staten. And we had our first win yesterday, inaugural win. So we're very proud of ourselves.
All right,
Very proud of the girls.
so what? Just give us a little bit of a breakdown here. How did the game go from the get-go?
So we were playing U9. We had a team come in from New Jersey, and basically, before the half was over, we were up 4-0.
Okay.
And then we got up to one more goal in the second half, and pretty much we shut it down after that.
Shut it down.
Unfortunately, the other team didn't have any subs, and they weren't even sure they were going to have enough to field a full team, but they did. But they didn't have any subs. So
All right, hey, you could play without subs. I mean, that's fine.
yeah.
So be honest, George. What's the feeling like right after that game yesterday? Did you go out and celebrate?
So everybody went home tired. All the girls went home tired because even though we had a full bench, we still couldn't sub everybody because of the substitution rules, and we weren't getting possession on the out of bounds, so we couldn't sub, or we couldn't piggyback on their subs because they didn't have any subs.
Okay.
No, they don't sub on the fly.
So everybody just wanted to go home and relax, basically.
All right, so George, did you expect the 5-0 win?
I did not expect a 5-0 win. I thought we would be competitive because we're in the E division, and I figured we're probably better than E, but I didn't expect us to get ahead that fast. And but as soon as the whistle blew and we started playing, I kind of relaxed. So we took control of the game almost immediately. They didn't cross the midfield in the whole first half.
That sounds good, George. That's a great feeling.
Very confident sounding coach George is right now. All right.
I'm glad you got that win under your belt. Now it's it. Now you roll forward. You got that first game jitters out of the way. You got the logistics. You're all set. Did you get your flags?
I'm getting them Thursday.
Did you get a bench?
One of the parents had a nice bench. No, I did not. I do not have a bench yet.
Ask for your bench. You get a bench and flags when you become a coach.
Nice.
That's right. But
That's
no,
great.
but I think the bench is secondary. The girls should be standing up and engaged in the game, even if they're on the bench. So the bench, I think, puts them into a little bit of too much of a relaxed state.
All right, so what do you got? You got a game coming up this weekend?
We have actually 2 games this weekend. We got a Saturday game. We're traveling to Mahwah in New Jersey, and then we have on Sunday we have a home game at Miller Field.
Nice.
What time's your game on Sunday, George?
3:45 on Sunday on Field 5, and then we're at 4 o'clock on Saturday at Mahwah.
Okay, good.
All right, George. Thanks for calling in. Any,
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. Congrats and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. See you guys.
All right. Take care, George.
All right,
care.
George, take care.
Take care.
All right. Boy, he's sounding like he's, very confident there.
Listen.
One game, one win.
He's been itching.
Yeah, I think they had a couple of cancellations.
They had a
right?
couple of cancellations. They've been training all spring, all fall, all winter, not playing. So he's been itching. We've been talking about it. So I'm glad the girls got to go out there and play, and I'm glad they played well and got the win.
Okay. All right, so we're pretty much wrapped up. We spent a good part of the show, half of the show at least, on youth soccer.
Yeah, no, that's good. We can move on now.
Yeah, I think
we were
on,
really
right?
waiting to finish it off with John, so with George.
Right,
so
right.
we got George here. We can move on. Let's
All right, so like always, we'll start off with the teams that we don't really, or the leagues that we really don't know much about.
and we'll blow through those.
NASL.
Okay.
Right. I mean, the Cosmos are sitting at number 5. Again, only 3 games in.
Yeah.
But they play a spring season, right? They cut their.
They play like rec.
Right.
They play like us
like
too,
youth,
like
youth soccer, right?
They play a fall season
Right.
and a spring
They go.
season.
Why is that? I don't get it. Why do they break it down? Just play one season.
I don't understand it. I really don't.
All right. So anyhow, the Cosmos are sitting 1-1-1 here. So I mean, we really don't know what to expect out of that. We don't know
again,
much
we don't
about.
know.
Right.
We really. I can't speak about it. I can't even speak about the Cosmos. I really don't follow them.
So at least we know they're 3 games in, and hopefully they're not too far out here, right? Or are they? They're only 3 points out of first. So
it's early.
Yeah.
It's early. The
well, how
spring
many
season,
games? Do you know how many games they play?
No,
right?
I don't know.
I'm gonna guess and say maybe half of the 32.
They might.
Maybe 16.
Might be 16 games
Right.
and then playoffs because I'm sure they do the same thing.
Right.
And then what's funny is, I guess I shouldn't say because I know they've won. One year they won the spring and the fall, and it becomes spring and fall. So I don't know if it's a team that wins the fall and a team that wins the spring. Are they the ones who play for ultimate, like, final champions of the NASL season?
No, I think there's one champion for the spring, one for the fall. Now, going back to the 80s, was it like that, the same format?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I can't remember, but I don't think so.
All right, well,
But
we'll put the NASL to bed here for now, and we'll go right to Serie B. And
I'll let you handle City.
Well, again, I mean, like last week we spoke about Body, and it's the only reason why we cover Serie B. They're sitting at number 12. They lost their 4th in a row. So they're pretty much done. I mean, there's really nothing else for them to do.
That's it.
Mathematically,
they're still in it.
They got 5 games left.
Okay.
All right.
So they can get let's call it.
Look.
If they go on a run, they can get 18 points.
Yeah, but when they're going to start this run?
Right.
When the season's over? I mean, they're sitting at 50 points, all right? To get into the playoff spot, they're only 1 point behind, but they got 4 teams ahead of them.
Wow.
3 teams ahead of them. All right? See, it's 1 point. I mean, can it be done? Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to go on that run. They better wake
it.
up.
And they got to hope the other teams.
They better wake up.
Because odds are they're not playing the teams that are in front of them. They're playing the teams that are below them that
Right.
Really
and
help.
I don't really know much about it because they're in Italy and stuff, but I believe that they're going hard on the coach from just seeing clippings.
But he just started though.
Yeah, but the coach, the coach always takes the fall.
No, I know, but he hasn't even had a chance to really
half a season.
Not even half a season.
Not even.
And we were talking about formations and how to implement a formation, and it takes a while.
Yeah,
he might have a different style of play and players that don't fit in.
This past weekend, they lost to a team, second place, Verona. That team's got some Serie A players on it. Luca Toni is actually one of the team's managers or something. I don't know if you heard Luca Toni.
Yes, I know the name.
Right. So, but it is what it is with FC Body. So they got to go on that run. Serie A, we don't have Vincenzo tonight because we usually don't call him when we go.
Right. He calls in when we're live.
Looks like Juventus is going to run.
We knew that. There's not even much to.
Juventus, Roma, 1-2, Serie A, and.
Napoli's not far behind. Napoli's a point behind Roma. But But
Well-
what does that do for them? That's UEFA. That's the top two go to UEFA.
Well, Napoli's gonna They're gonna try and get that number 2 spot, so they're guaranteed.
And then
Right.
the third.
This is a playoff right there. Okay, they got to play a different.
a
league.
different team, the
Right.
third place team or whatever
Right,
from.
right.
Okay.
So they're better off if they can take over second.
Right. Take over second
right.
and push them to the playoff.
But I believe this weekend Napoli tied to one of the teams at the bottom of the table, so
Okay.
so that's not a good thing.
No.
either, you know. And then you got Lazio, Atlanta, and Milan wrapping up the European.
Okay. The Europa.
Right.
That's the Europa.
Right.
The Europa League or whatever it is.
Right.
Okay.
So Serie A, Juventus. I mean, speaking of Juventus, a 2-legged series, we'll call it Champions League, right, against Barcelona,
Yeah.
and they shut them out.
Yeah. That's it.
That
You shut
speaks
'em out.
volumes right there. I
Yes,
mean,
it is.
not even a goal, okay, and they go on to the semifinals in the Champions League, right, against Monaco. Is it
No.
France? Team from France, I believe it is.
Is it?
Yeah, and they're in first place in their division there. So, Juventus, nothing. I think right now their sights are set on winning the Champions League,
Well, that's their primary.
right? And I think they have a pretty
League
good shot.
doesn't. I don't think the league means anything to them. 'Cause
No,
they're there.
they're gonna wrap that up, and then they got the Coppa Italia that we spoke about too last week.
Right.
They should wrap that up also. But the Champions League is the
That's
big.
the big one.
Right. If they
That's the
could
big
bring
one.
that home for Buffon mainly because he's
Well,
on,
that's it. He's
Right.
on. He's on his. Let's say it.
Well, no, you could
he's
say.
playing, but he's on his
Right.
decline.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is it. This
Without-
is
without
as he's
doubt.
riding off into the sunset.
Yeah. So hopefully for him, for his sake, they could get that Champions League
Okay.
win. The English Premier League. I think Chelsea played Sunday for the
Yes.
FA Cup.
They actually play. If I'm not mistaken,
I should have printed
Chelsea played Tottenham.
Tottenham. But that was for the
That
cup.
was the FA Cup, and they put a spanking on them. In the terms of, in soccer terms, it was like 3-1.
Okay. Yeah, no,
something
that's
like that.
okay.
But they went on. It was tied, 1-1, and then they just opened up and they just went on their merry
Now,
way.
where do they stand in that tournament? Is that
That was the semifinals.
okay? So they're
So
in the
they
finals.
they're on to the finals.
Okay. Yeah.
So Conte gets them going there. And if I'm not mistaken, they're playing Arsenal.
Arsenal in the final.
advanced to
Okay.
FA Cup final.
And Arsenal's down here.
Yeah, Arsenal's not having a good Premier League,
Well, look, 17 wins, right, with 8 losses. I mean,
but they're still in the,
that's the European,
that's the Europa.
right? Europa.
Again, you got Man City hanging out in fourth, which I'm a little shocked that they declined. They had a big decline because they started off pretty hot.
So it looks like in the Premier League, the top 3 go,
And
right?
then it's the
and then,
playoff in
and then,
4.
right.
And
That's-
then 5 through 7 go.
So Man
to
City still
Europa.
has a lot to play for because you want to get into the top 3. You don't want to play this playoff game.
And United is pretty much they just suffered a blow. Zlatan is Ibrahimovic is out for
he's
the rest.
done?
He's done.
Okay.
He did something to his knee, so he's done.
Okay.
In there, but there's not much,
So what do you think? What do you think about Conte? Let's talk about Chelsea and Conte now coming in first year, has a shot at the league, right?
He has a shot
And has
at
a
an
shot.
FA Cup.
What do you think about that? I mean,
Listen,
what else can that man do? Win a World Cup maybe, because he hasn't done that. Where do you
yeah.
put him as far as coaches go? If he achieves these 2,
I mean, I get it coming in with a year. I mean, it's
not a
kudos
lot.
doing getting your system in place, getting everybody to play the way buy into your system, and so that's important. That's not a coach. That's a leader.
Right.
That's a leader. That's somebody who you're organized. You made the right moves.
Okay.
Because these guys not only implement the game plan, they're the manager. They're transfer. They're running the transfer wire. They're doing all that. They're picking the players they want them. They're the general manager, the coach.
Right.
So listen, he's
got to put him up there. I think if he accomplishes both, first season,
you'll get that to happen. That's great. That's great.
Right. So he's going to actually be able to go wherever he wants to go to coach. And I'd like
Yeah.
to see him back at the Italian national team there to win the World Cup with them. That's what I'd like to see. All right, our favorite league. I know it's one of your favorite leagues.
It's all right.
It's getting there, but you
It's
know what?
getting there.
It's
It's starting to
definitely
pick
getting there. You're getting guys to come over from overseas now, and not only guys that are washed up.
No, you're starting to get younger players
Right.
to come over
Right.
at it,
Right.
you know,
And we're
make
talking
the
about
money.
the MLS.
Right.
Right. So tough. Let's start off with the NYCFC. I mean, tough. I mean, I just can't figure that team out sometimes.
I think you jinxed them.
Yeah.
You go on and you post your comment about, what was it, 11?
11-game unbeaten streak.
11-game unbeaten streak at
Right,
home,
right.
blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And I turned the game on thinking I'm going to say, and there it is, 2-0 already.
And those were 9 wins with 2 ties.
Okay, and that's,
Right, that's a pretty good
but that's
streak.
really good.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here looking at it's 2-0 already. Is that how it ended, or
That's how it
ended
ended.
2-0 or 2-1?
Did they score a goal? Yes, they did score a goal. Villa, David.
Okay.
But and what's his name said it yesterday. He was doing the game. Alexei. After a while, the feeling of playing at Yankee Stadium dies out. It's the product on the field.
Right.
Right. He said it. Oh, Yankee Stadium and
In the first couple of years, it was you're playing
Right,
at Yankee
right,
Stadium
right,
and you're going to
right,
Yankee Stadium, but
now
now you got to win.
Now it's the product, and for whatever reason, last week Pirlo looked great. This week they pull him out. Maybe in the 60th minute?
Okay.
Because
I didn't watch. I just saw
they're down. They're down.
And they need to put in an attack.
Now it's become Pirlo's out of the game if you're trailing.
Right. He's not a threat.
That's not good. That's
not when you're behind. He's not a threat.
That's not a good thing. But I mean, how do you work with a player like that? All right, so you give up, you concede a goal in the first few minutes, you pull him out.
Right. Right.
I mean, how long do you go with him if you concede early?
Right.
That's not a good thing.
I don't. Yeah.
I mean,
don't.
they're kind of like a slow push out the door with him. I think. I mean,
Well,
and
that's it.
as much as
Listen, we know what it was for them. It was name recognition. They needed to get
right, yeah, and I get
bodies
that.
in the seats.
Selling tickets, I get all that
Right.
stuff, but I don't know, man. Do something with. I mean, make it. It's yes or no. Don't do it this way. I mean, let the guy. How do you know he's not going to put in a good ball? I mean,
Well, that's it. You don't know, but you watch it. He just sits back.
Yeah,
I
no.
know he's the holding midfielder, but as a holding midfielder, he can still push up a little bit.
I'd rather cut ties. I mean, he even got a yellow card yesterday.
Did he?
He even got I think that was his 4th yellow since being in the league. But Pirlo, boy, I tell you, boy, I don't know.
Look, Atlanta's holding their own.
All right, Atlanta's number 4. You know what? And with that win, they would have been tied for first with that if New York City wins that game. So, all right, jump over to the Red Bulls. That's your cup. Your
Red
cup
Bulls,
of
I
tea.
watched a little bit of them.
They won. They beat
They won.
the Columbus team that was in
Columbus
first.
Crew. Listen, I'm still not sure if they have an identity yet.
All right.
Again, I'd be happy with them holding their own, finishing in the top 6 to get into the playoffs. But it's at that point too. Enough. I don't want to support a Shield.
Right. No.
I
It's not even about the regular season
no.
anymore with them. Right. 21
that
years.
means nothing. Get in. You got to get to an MLS. I'm not even asking you to win an MLS Cup. I'm asking you to get in it.
Well, they were in it a few years ago.
But get back in it. Get back in it because you got to get that taste of blood back in your mouth. I don't care you were in it a few years ago. The Supporters Shield doesn't put blood in your mouth.
No, means nothing.
You got to get the taste of that. You got to taste that feeling of we're here.
X the Galaxy, they know all about
Well, that's
that.
it.
XDC back in the early
DC.
days. In the early days. I mean, we're going back 20 years, right?
But you got to get back in it. So
Well, speaking
I
of
don't have
getting
much
back in
else
it,
to say about it. So
I'd have to disagree a little bit about the Red Bulls. I
Okay.
think you got to get in it and win it.
well, yeah, I could see
And-
that,
and
but
don't
I want to
forget-
get back there first.
All right, and you got to win it once you get there. Because getting back there and not winning it again, what is that going to do? What is that?
Yeah, but you got to get that taste. It's got to get that taste, and
right.
maybe getting back there, they get the taste in the beginning and they could win it.
Right.
But then it's there. I just don't want. I'm tired of the Supporters Shield. I'm
Yeah,
tired of the winning the regular. if it was run, and we go into this all the time, if it was run like they do overseas,
Right.
and you won the Supporter Shield and you finished, you won the league,
then you're a champion.
then it's fine.
Right. Then you're the
But
champion.
that means nothing to me the regular season.
And you know what? The Supporters Shield, what are they? Dust collectors.
Yeah.
They're sitting in someone's
It does
showcase
you no good.
and
It
collecting
does you no
dust.
good.
Right.
It does
no.
nothing for you. It means nothing.
But speaking about coming back, I don't know if you saw it, but Jovinko finally does what he gets paid for.
He finally scored.
Off a free kick, set piece.
Okay.
Maybe about 25 yards out. All right. He
And that's
nailed
what-
it
that's-
upper 90. And that's what and everyone made a whole big thing about Jovinko's back and this and that.
Right.
But Toronto's still sitting on the outside. Again, it's early.
It's early.
But it's like Toronto doesn't go if he doesn't go.
No, that's
Him.
it. And if they and now if he's click and they start and Josie starts clicking,
Right,
Jovinko starts clicking, Michael Bradley starts.
Right.
Guess
They're
what?
a dangerous team.
They-
Toronto should be on. They should run away
and
with
that
this.
and that can happen if they all start clicking.
Right. Once they start going, right.
You know,
they'll-
maybe that's the spark.
Might have been. We'll see what happens this week.
So and then you have the West.
Yeah, we got the West too also. I mean, Portland right now is leading the way.
Again, and the West, I really don't know much. I don't follow the West that much. I don't
Galaxy.
know much about.
Strange seeing a Galaxy down at the bottom there.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Right?
It is. And below Minnesota.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
and below Minnesota. So I don't know what the deal is there.
Seattle, we know. Well, we got Dempsey on that
Yeah.
team, so they'll always be around. Portland won it 2 years ago. A couple of years back, they won the MLS Cup, right?
Yes,
so
they've won.
so they know how to get things done. Dallas is always a team that's
Dallas is
hovering.
always a team that's in there. They're always in. They're,
Right.
You know.
Houston is, one of those teams also. You see them around, they're hanging around. So San Jose has been, they're another team too that they're like the Red Bulls.
Yeah, they hang around.
They get to finals and stuff like that.
and that's it.
And they don't
So
still win it.
eventually, you need to win it.
But I think Toronto has probably got the three-headed monster, we'll call them, right? The
I
only
think
team,
they can be.
right?
I don't think anybody else really
There's no other team that's got the three big
like
name
that.
guys,
No,
right?
no,
So, but Toronto,
that I know of. So I can speak of. So.
slow start in Canada for Toronto. All right, that pretty much
Now,
wraps.
just to and as the topic they put on there, El Clasico.
Right.
Well, I had somebody say to me 2 weeks ago, "Oh, it was driven off of something, but they used it as an example." You can say it's my opinion, or it's your opinion that
Yeah.
Messi's better than Ronaldo, but I
Right.
know for a fact Ronaldo's better than Messi. Okay. Well, depending on how you look at it. Well, yesterday, the two behemoths came together.
Right. Yep.
And he did his thing. Somebody else did, and then next thing you know, nodded 1-1.
Right.
And, Messi scored.
Okay.
So, and then Barcelona, I went, and just from highlights, 2-1. Real Madrid ties it up 2-2. They go into extra time. And this is where it becomes, and it could be Ronaldo, but Ronaldo's more the guy off the set piece, or whether it's a free kick or it's off his head off a corner kick, or somebody fed him the ball and he did. He I very rarely see him do it on his own. Well, extra time, they got the ball on Messi's feet. Boom, 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 and not even boom, boom, and that's it. And game over, which happened to be his 500th La Liga goal.
That just for the league?
For the league.
What about international? No.
500th La Liga goal.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. His 500th goal with Barcelona.
Okay. Barcelona, right.
With Barcelona.
All right. You can't argue. I'm glad it happened yesterday and not last week. Or, against Juventus,
Right,
I'm glad he saved it for the Clasico, which is good. Listen, you can argue all day with those two guys. Who's better than who?
Right. But I think, I always look at it as it's not always the goals. It's
When?
Messi will put the ball on your foot.
Right.
pinpoint.
Right.
You know,
Right.
yes,
The other guy.
his focus is I got to score. You know, my job, but he also knows that he's got to get it on somebody's foot. He can't do it all on his own.
Yeah.
And he knows that. Yeah. And that's where I take it all around.
Well, he's more of an all around, right?
Yeah,
Messi,
very rarely do you
right.
see Messi berate a fellow teammate for not getting him the ball, and that fellow teammate took a shot and missed.
Right.
I've watched that, you know, pretty boy.
The pretty boy, exactly, yeah.
Throw a fit with Gareth Bale because Gareth Bale kept the ball and took a shot and didn't score, and because he thought he was wide open.
You never want to do
throws
that.
a hissy fit.
Right, no.
You know, come on.
So it's clear to say here that we know who you're going to pick.
That's me.
We know
that's
who your
me.
pick is.
But
Well, I mean,
yesterday you proved it. I mean, I would have loved to have been able to watch the game. But Barcelona won. I'm a Barcelona fan. I don't hide anything from it. I don't like Real Madrid, primarily because of Pretty Boy. I just don't like
that's
him.
fine. So it's
I
safe
like
to say
Gareth
you'll be
Bale.
rooting on Juventus if we meet them in the Champions
Of
League
course,
final,
of
if
course.
they go.
Yes, if they go. And now we didn't touch on it, but Saturday, a match I wish I knew it was on, and I totally forgot because it's overseas in the time. Kind of had our female version of a Classico, Man City women versus Olympic Lyonnais women, Alex Morgan versus Carly Lloyd. And I'm not going to say Alex Morgan won because I don't know the who scored, who didn't, but Olympic Lyonnais won.
Okay.
So Carly Lloyd went over there for the experience, went over there to the play, but went over there to help them win a UEFA Champions League and fell short.
Okay.
It is what it is.
And now she's coming right back, right?
No, because I think they still have FA Cup they're playing.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, they will be back in June, both of them. Well, everybody.
Well, in June they got a U.S. National team.
Right. So that,
okay.
that season ends.
Okay. Right, and then they'll play here.
And
in
then
the
they'll
summer.
come back.
Okay,
and play.
that's fine. Yeah, that's
And
good.
if I'm not mistaken, Alex Morgan will come back.
Right.
Carly Lloyd, Crystal Dunn.
Okay.
Heather O'Reilly. I believe Heather O'Reilly is playing for Women's Arsenal now. I don't know. I know she left. I don't know if she kept the contract with the NWSL. So
it's kind of hard to keep track of them because they're overseas, and we don't get all the,
you
the
don't
scoop.
But listen, we talk about this enough.
Yeah.
We always.
Yeah.
They got, and they are making strides at trying to get. And I didn't know this, but Orlando Pride is owned by the same owner of Orlando City.
Orlando City, right? Yep.
Because they were on. They announced. I was watching the game on Lifetime this weekend.
Okay.
They announced that they are the host city for the NWSL championship match, and the mayor was on how they're going to promote, and they play in the same stadium as the
that's the way.
Orlando City.
It'd be nice to have that with all the teams.
And the announcers were talking about it as this is the premier place people want to come train in the play in the NWSL because they have their backing of an MLS team, MLS owner, the facilities, and that shows you Marta's son.
Right. She came from Brazil. Right. Yeah, the Brazilian national.
She's played in Brazil. That's where she's played a Pro Bowl, maybe overseas a little bit, but now she's coming here, and that's where she went.
And it seems like they got a good home field advantage there with the crowd.
Yeah, the crowd gets into it.
Right, on the men's side at least.
I can tell you this: the game I was watching. That was a full-size stadium, and I'm not going to say it was sold out by no means, but it had a nice crowd in it.
Yep.
And you know what? I think it's right to do. I think they
New
need
York
to
City
start,
lost their first game there in Orlando.
They need to. I think the women's owners, whatever, they need to reach out to either sell a majority share or do something to become partners with the MLS. And the MLS, I think, owe it to the soccer community in the United States to do that, to grab a hold of it.
So they could just grow together.
So they can grow together and grow the sport together.
That's the key,
That's
right?
the key.
Exactly.
So,
Speaking on the women, the women's side, there's nothing going on in New York, right? Not even upstate. There's nothing.
We,
Offici-
outside
professionals.
I call it.
Jersey, you talk.
Sky Blue is right over
right.
in at Rutgers, so that's
right,
not that far.
right,
So
right.
it's in the region.
Okay.
It's in the region. But there's no talks.
There's nothing.
There's no talks that I've heard or anything. Listen, until they do something with, the Cosmos, they got a home now, but
Yeah, but
they're not. They'll take off a little, but putting a women's pro team in New York
city.
and having two that close to each other,
Right.
I don't think it'll work.
Well, they could put them in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work.
What's going on with that? No talks.
I
at
haven't
all,
heard anything
Right,
about
I
it.
haven't. But there were talks
At
last
one
year.
point, I thought it was going to be right on the Harlem River, like there was a site.
But
I
there's
haven't
no
heard
talk
anything.
about a stadium, anything. Right
Nothing.
now for New York
I
City
heard
FC. Oh, it's tough. That is tough, boy, to play in that. And you know what? Alexi Lau is saying that the opponents now are using the field against New York City FC.
Yeah.
Right?
It's,
Right?
you would think that it'd come in, and you guys would know how to play. Whatever.
Right.
No.
But no. What do they? They don't even train there, so they can't
No.
train on that
No,
field.
they can't train on it. So you're going and you're probably training on a full-size pitch,
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's tough,
right?
boy.
You're
That's
not,
yeah.
are you going in it because you're not going to go build a field,
No.
build a training facility, and put a field that resembles the
Right.
the dimensions
Right.
of Yankee Stadium,
Yep,
and then
yep,
in the
yep.
hopes of getting a new stadium, and
So they use
So-
that field for 90 minutes, maybe every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And then get the hell out of here. Get the soccer stuff out because the Yankees are coming back home.
right, and that's it.
Boy, that's
That's
tough.
it.
That is tough. And I just don't get it. Let's just hope the Steinbrenners do something here. Get
But I don't think it's on the Steinbrenners. So
Well,
I don't know where it's
you'd
running.
want-
I don't know.
You would want them to help build a team,
Of
a
course.
stadium, maybe
but
with
I
with their sponsor there.
I know.
All right, Brian. Another.
it's already-
another quick hour, boy.
That went quick.
Yeah, that's pretty
Okay.
quick. So, again, join us on Facebook. The Staten Island Soccer Report, and hopefully next Monday we'll come at you again. We'll
Yeah, if
see.
they have the time.
We'll see how things work out, and that's it for this show. Thanks to Brian behind the glass tonight to get the show in on for us, and also Kenny.
They were both. Brian was running around like a chicken without his head, trying
Brian
to get
got-
everything
right.
rolling just before. So
Brian got the show off
He got
without
it
a
off.
hitch, and a great, beautiful background picture there for the
Nice.
Champions League. All right, we'll see you guys.
hopefully, see you next week.
Salute.
non ti lasceremo da solo.